All right guys, how you going? Thomas Alex Norman here. In this video, we're going to be showing you how to make cinematic videos with just your smartphone, and in this one, using the Xiaomi Mi 8. Let's go.
High above the mountains, far across the sea, carving out a canyon, destroying me. Reasons for my wonder, the run I'll never reach, mystery unfolding, your love for me. And there is not a damn thing any man can do, 'cause I will never stop loving you. Stop loving you.
So, all of that footage you just saw was shot on this, the Xiaomi Mi 8. Xiaomi is a consumer tech company who have won multiple design awards across the world and who are actually sponsoring this video. Now, a few interesting facts about their new phone. It's got an in-screen fingerprint sensor. It has a transparent titanium design. It shoots 4K video, it shoots 120 frames per second 1080p video, and it also has a photography camera powered by AI. And probably the most interesting thing about this phone is the price point. It has a lot of really high-spec features that the most expensive smartphones out there have, and it comes in at only £499. So it's way more affordable than some of those more typical phones you hear about, and it's packed with pretty cool features. And I've been going around Barcelona putting it to the test over the past couple of days, and these high-end features, especially in the camera, make it a really, really handy and powerful travel video making device. So, point number one is use the SS rule. And what this means is steady or still, nothing in between. Unless you can get a really steady shot, either with steady hands or some kind of gimbal, then just go with still. Make sure you got everything still, locked in place, maybe even use as tripod to get that nice still shot. The reason for this is basically you want nothing in between. Amateur footage, which is gonna kind of look like the footage of a smartphone rather than a camera, is usually stuff that's somewhere in between steady and still. It's somewhere kind of pointing around, not quite knowing what you're looking at. Maybe it's still, but kind of a bit shaky, or maybe it's trying to be steady, but it's not steady, and it's kind of moving, but in a shaky way. You always want S or S, steady or still. If you can't get it steady for whatever reason, go for still. Lock it as much as you can, try and just get a still shot, and play with the movement within the shot. So if you're gonna get a still shot, pay attention, see if there's any birds flying across, people moving by, and then the movement within that shot is what's gonna make your shot interesting and engaging. If you can, go with a steady. As I said, whack a gimbal on your phone, or just use steady hands and get some interesting cinematic movements, such as going forward slowly, backward slowly, or side to side slowly. The key with these movements is it doesn't have to be big. A lot of people think that you have to kind of go from side to side like this, walking a lot. Those can be cool, but often you can literally be holding your phone down like this, a low angle is a good idea, and just move like this much. Just left to right, just like that, and that can be enough to really get a cinematic feel in your shot. So remember that rule, SS. Point number two is to take full advantage of all of the features that your phone offers you. For example, as I told you, the Xiaomi Mi 8 has 4K video and shoots in 120 frames per second in 1080. What that means is that I'm always going to be shooting in 4K when I just want to shoot in normal speed. So it does 30 frames per second in 4K. That's what I'll use for most of my shots. I'll pick that setting because it offers this really rich, detailed look, get everything in the shot I want. And because it's so crisp, it often doesn't look like a phone. It'll often look like a pro camera. The other thing I use is the 120 frames per second. If I find an opportunity, and I'll be actively looking for these opportunities to use it, I will. Maybe that will be birds flying, somebody's hair blowing in the wind, or somebody running, for example. Those kinds of shots always look epic in slow motion. And what that's gonna do is basically give you a wide range of footage that all looks high production value. And what I mean by that is that it looks like it has a budget behind it. It looks like somebody's hired a pro videographer and he's got a nice fancy camera, but actually it's just little old you with your little old phone. Using all of these high-end features with the SS rule is gonna give you some really nice, clean-looking pro footage. All right, point number 3 is that you should try and get as artistic as you can. Try and play with light. Play with sun flares, play with slow motion in sun flares, play with shadows. Do all these things that are gonna make your footage look more artistic, more creative. Generally, when it comes to smartphones and phone filmmaking, it can just be kind of uncreative. It's just kind of point and shoot, basically. But as soon as you start playing with light, playing with shadows, playing with slow motion effects whilst using movement in a sun flare, like that kind of stuff is normally associated with those high-end cameras and is gonna make your stuff rocket up in high production value. And it can also just communicate what you wanna say a bit more. Think about a purpose to your video. What do you want your video to be about? What emotions do you want it to convey? And then use artistic techniques to convey those emotions to your audience. Make sure they feel like they're there. Give them this sensory experience. Let them imagine what it smells like, what it feels like, what the temperature is, what the textures are. Those kind of things are the things you really want to convey to your audience and allow them to really see through your eyes. Use artistic techniques. All right, so the fourth and final point that's really important to take into account when making a travel video with a phone is sound. Now, it doesn't matter what smartphone you have, even if it is the Xiaomi, the sound is never going to be professional straight out of the phone. It's always going to have this slight kind of tinny, crispy feel, simply because smartphones, it's impractical to put a big microphone like this into a smartphone. So what you can do is either record your own audio with a separate microphone, which is what I've started doing, or you can get sound effects from the internet. And I kind of do a mix of both. So what it might look like if I'm getting my own sound is that if I get a shot and I know that I will need a nice sound of footsteps of somebody walking, I'll do the shot I want and then think about which sound I need, maybe grab a quick sound bite of their footsteps that I can later then put back into my video. And I love doing this because it really is real. It's capturing real visuals as well as real audio that you can then put in your video, and it really gives it that realistic kind of depth that a lot of travel videos are actually missing in a way. A lot of travel videos just use music, and it can be really nice to put in that sound to give it that layer of depth and really make your audience feel like they're there and give it that kind of third dimension. And the other way, as I said, go on any sound effects library, grab the sound effects you need, which is just as effective in some cases, and put all your sound effects in that way. It is a little bit time consuming, but I find it really fun doing this. It's really fun to build an atmosphere, a kind of 3D sonic atmosphere using different sound effects that either you've captured or you've found, because it really draws people in and it can kind of draw yourself in. You really notice how important sound is in videos when doing this. You really notice how much a good quality sound design can make in kind of almost tricking your viewers into thinking it is a very high production video. And it's funny because the better your sound is, the better people are going to think the visual quality is. It's a crazy kind of twisted perspective that you might not have thought about, but it really is true. The better your sound, the better the perceived production value is going to be of your video. So it's always worth considering grabbing your own little microphone as well as just browsing around for sound effects online. So that is the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Big shout again for Xiaomi for sending me the Mi 8. I really appreciate it. And I will look forward to seeing you in the next video. As always, my gear list is in the description below if you're interested in seeing the entire list of gear that I use. as well as getting really regular tips and tricks and knowledge bites. Also some stories into your inbox that are gonna help and support you on your travel filmmaking journey. All right, guys, keep filming. Have a great day. Bye-bye.